permeability? They become permeable and leaky, so increased blood vessel permeability. So vasodilation and increased blood vessel, BV, permeability. I mean, so now your blood vessels dilate and they get leaky. So, oh my gosh, well that stinks. Because you're calling out for the phagocytic white blood cells. And we will have phagocyte migration and phagocytosis. And then hopefully tissue repair. Okay. Now phagocyte migration is also called something else. The phagocytes are taxiing to the histamine chemicals, using the histamine as breadcrumbs. So what do we call phagocyte migration? Okay. So they're taxiing to the chemicals, chemotaxis. That sound familiar? Phagocyte migration, chemotaxis mean the same thing. Once the phagocytic white blood cell gets to the site, it has to adhere. Now, there's a situation with certain bacteria that don't allow phagocytes to stick. What do those bacteria have around the outside of their cell wall that don't let the phagocytes stick? Capsules. All right, why do I write this? Because there are other situations that there are other systems set up in our body to deal with these capsules. So say you have inflammation occurring, but phagocytosis can't occur, and the bacteria is still there hanging out doing its thing because it has capsules. Well, we have something to complement that immune response, and that complement will get activated via the capsules, and then it will start this process again in order to try to increase phagocytosis. So we have chemotaxis, it has to stick. Then the phagocytic white blood cell will ingest, it will digest, and then it will release undigested material. As it's digesting the microorganism, there's a situation where it's chewing it up and then endotoxin gets released. Endotoxin is only found in which bacteria? Only gram-negative. Okay, so we are going to look at fever as it relates to just gram-negative infections. So basically what's happening is it's flowing from one thing to the next, that's what's happening. Now phagocytosis, when this is occurring, this is also stimulating your third line of defense over here. We have specialized phagocytic white blood cells called antigen-presenting cells, APCs. An antigen is anything that is foreign. What makes something foreign? It's got to be big or weird or different than our cells. Big sugars we don't have, like peptidoglycan. Mannose is a big long-chain sugar that we do not have on our cells. If you have O blood, you don't have the A sugars or the B sugars. That would be foreign to you. So an antigen is just something foreign to your body. Now, hopefully, you've inherited B and T cells that stick to these foreign molecules. Where'd you get them from? Your parents. Okay, now if you had a situation where your parents didn't have the ability to stick to, let's say E. coli, well, probably they aren't your parents because they didn't make it. Okay, they died, they didn't have children, your genes, those faulty genes didn't get passed on. So all the stuff we have now, B and T cells that's specifically attached to E. coli, Ebola, diphtheria, any of the crazy stuff that we see out there, they all have unique foreign particles, and we have inherited these cells. Now the thing is, we don't want to activate them unless we need to. So I have a B and T cell that recognize Ebola, but I mean, what are the chances of me ever seeing Ebola? Probably pretty slim. So for me to make Ebola antibodies for no reason is such a waste of time. So what happens with the B and T cells is that we select, or the antigen selects for the clone that's supposed to be activated. And how that happens is during phagocytosis. So when this antigen-presenting cell ingests, digests, it releases the antigen and holds it on a receptor. Basically, it's holding it out for the B and T cells to see if they recognize it. Okay, now there could be an antigen that you don't recognize, that you just inherited, that you didn't inherit the right B and T cells. There could be a cancer cell that you don't recognize, and if you don't recognize the cancerous protein, you get cancer. Okay, and there are other treatments. And then what the scientists are doing now is they're designing specialized T cells to target the cancer that you have because you didn't inherit the T cells that recognize that foreign cancer protein. All right, so we need to know which guys we're supposed to activate. And the only way we can do that is to go through these second lines of defense, phagocytosis, so that we can present that foreign particle to our specialized lymphocytes, our B and our T cells. And that's what's going to give us our long-term immunity. Okay, so we'll see how that happens in a minute. So in the meantime, you got a gram-negative bacteria, E. coli. It's doing what it's doing over there, but it's also releasing endotoxin in the phagocytic white blood cell. And it doesn't matter which endotoxin it is. As long as there's endotoxin in that phagocyte's releasing interleukin-1. And we have a lot of interleukins, and it just means talking between the white blood cells. Between interleukin, white blood cell, that's all that it is. They talk to each other. They send out signals to each other to let them know what you're supposed to be doing. And this phagocytic white blood cell releases interleukin, and interleukin-1 goes to the hypothalamus. Now, what does the hypothalamus do for us?
Regulates temperature.
It regulates our body temperature. Once interleukin-1 is binding to the hypothalamus releases prostaglandins in response. The prostaglandins bind back to the hypothalamus and reset body temp to a higher temperature. Now, why would we want to reset our body temp, especially to a higher temperature? What does it do when you raise the temperature of things? It kills the bacteria, okay? I mean, that's why we cook food. What else does it do to the rate of reaction when you heat the reaction? You add a little bit of heat to the reaction. Speeds it up. So you're speeding up the rate of reaction, you're killing cells, and you're allowing the body to try to prevent these microorganisms from spreading. Now, after you get rid of all of the gram-negative bacteria, there's no more endotoxin being released into the phagocytic white blood cell. The interleukin-1 stops being released. It stops binding to the hypothalamus. The prostaglandins aren't released anymore, and then you have this drop in right back to normal. Now, when you first get a fever, when you're first sick, how do you feel? Like, you feel like your body feels hot to you because you're like, wow, I feel like I'm burning up, but I want another blanket. Why? Because your brain's telling you, saying, hey, I need to be 102. Well, what are you? You're not 102, right? So you're cold, so you're shivering, you're trying to drive that temperature up, and then once you get to that temperature, you're at a happy medium at 102, but like, we don't like that. That's definitely not normal. Now with children, I think now you're supposed to let them get the temperature up to like 101, and that's when you give them the fever reducer. Is that right? Anybody have small children?
I don't know.
What is it?
Well, at schools are 125.
Okay.
At home it should be like 101, 101.
Okay. Yeah, see, I would like feel the lips to the head, and it would be 99, and then we're getting Tylenol motion, Tylenol motion. Now again, I'm not saying,
It's not, but now what they have told me is anything 101 or above, I probably need to bring them in because it might be something more than
right.
that might need an antibiotic or more. But 99, I'm safe to give them just